Okay. Hi, guys. For those of you who don't know me, I'm author Lorena Hoops, and I've been doing a couple of these videos on ACX versus Findaway voices. And a few people have reached out to me and wanted to know how is it going for Findaway voices, because I told you that I was moving away from ACX. Just a little background in case you don't know kind of what's happening with audiobooks. Maybe you've never gotten into them before. ACX used to, when we as authors put our books up, ACX would give us 100 US codes and 100 UK codes, and they would pay when those were redeemed. So that was amazing. We could give them to our reviewers. They could listen to the book for free. We would still get paid for it. It was an awesome system. In March, they decided to change that. And so they took away the fact that they were paying for codes. And they said it was due to abuse of the system, which is why they were so slow getting stuff out. But it seems weird to me because, again, that was your own system. I'm not sure how you can abuse that when that was what you set up. But regardless, they stopped paying for codes. They also dropped the amount of codes that you can get. So now you can get 25 US and 25 UK. And then once you sell 100 audiobooks of that particular book, you can get 25 more. So really, these codes are not really beneficial anymore, except for to get reviews, which is great because, again, we all know that reviews help sell books. But a lot of people then looked at it and said, well, what's the point with staying with ACX versus Findaway Voices? And I was one of them because I had all of my books in ACX at the time. And when this came down, I had 2 books that I had narrated myself of my own books that were waiting to be published. Plus I had 4 or 5 other books that I had narrated for other authors under royalty share that were waiting to be published. All of those that were done and sitting in ACX's queue did not qualify under the old rules. They qualify under the new rules. Okay, so that was really upsetting for people like myself who had taken on royalty share, expecting that there would be the payment from the codes at the beginning, at least, to help cover the cost, and then to produce these books, and there's nothing. I just have to pray and hope that these books actually start selling and I make some money off of them. Anyway, so that kind of brought us to, well, is there a reason to stay with ACX or should we go with Findaway Voices? If you're not familiar with Findaway Voices, it's kind of like Draft to Digital in that they're a platform that distributes to a lot of other places. So they have 43 at this point distributors that they distribute with. And that's impressive because it's a lot of places that your book can't go if you're exclusive to ACX. If you're exclusive to ACX, you have Amazon, you have Audible, and you have Apple Books, okay? And so that's it. That's the only places that your audiobook can be. Whereas if you're going with Findaway Voices, you have lots of other places it can be. But is it really beneficial? Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of things. So first I'm going to share my screen, and you guys will probably be like all of my students who are like, Ms. Hoops, you have way too many tabs. Yes, I know. But I also don't like going back into things when I'm in them. It drives me crazy. All right, so the first thing I'm going to pull up is my dashboard in ACX. Now this looks super impressive. You're looking at it, you're like, oh my gosh, nearly 5,000 copies sold. Yes, but you have to remember I have 36 books that are uploaded, and most of those had 200 codes. So when you look at that, it's really not as impressive as it seems. If I could filter out those codes, it would be much more viable. But what I wanted to show you was this. Okay, this is the big problem with ACX right now. ACX is still taking forever to get certain books up. This book here was submitted on April 11th. It's still pending review. This book here, submitted on April 11th, still pending review. This book here, submitted on April 29th, still pending review. And yet, look at this. This book was submitted on May 19th. It's already in completion. Now, it's not to retailers yet, but it will be in the next few days. So why is this book that was submitted a month afterwards only taking 2 days to get through when these books still are sitting there and have done nothing? This book down here was submitted in, I don't know if it'll tell you, but it was done April 30th or after April 29th, because I did these 2 books on the same day. I finished them on the same day. So this was done shortly after April 29th, and it went on sale by May 19th. This one was done in May, the 1st of May, I believe, and it went on sale May 12th. So this is my big problem with ACX, first and foremost, is there's no consistency. It's kind of this luck of draw with whoever gets your book as to how fast it's going to be made available, right? So this book is out in 2 days, but this other book's been sitting there for 30 days, right? And so that's a real big problem. And I've asked ACX, and their response is that basically every single one of their employees is in this funnel queue. So when a new book comes in, it just kind of shoots to a queue. And it's really just a crapshoot luck of the draw if you get the person who will go through and review your book and kick it out in 2 days or 2 months. Yay, super awesome. And then the other problem that a lot of people are having is that ACX will sometimes kick your book back. I had done a video and I was touting the fact that I had not had a book kicked back since one of my very first audiobooks that I did for another author. And it was because ACX weirdly, when I uploaded the file, like it cut it off and it didn't end. So they were like, there's not enough noise at the end. And then right after I did that video, one of the books that I had narrated for another author got kicked back for, again, noises at the beginning and the end. I listened, she listened. We didn't hear any of these noises. I had to pull it back up and literally watch the spike meter because I couldn't hear it with my headphones, but it would be like this teeny little, bump. And so I had to go through and fix all those files again for her, which totally my fault, and happy to do it. But it was crazy that this book had sat with ACX for 2 months. And then that's what kicked it back, was this minute that you couldn't even hear. I literally had to watch the meter. And so I had to redo all those files, resubmit for her, and it's still pending review, okay? And that is really important because they came out with this. If you haven't done narration, you probably haven't seen this. So I'll do one of these books that I'm working on that's not totally done yet. But they came out with this tool when you go into produce your audiobook, if you're a narrator, that says audio analysis. And this is like a beta tool, and it's supposed to be to where it'll listen to your book and flag anything that's wrong so that by the time you submit it, it'll actually get cleared through pending review. But if you click on this audio analysis, no issues found. Guess what? That book they kicked back to me also said no issues found. So this tab, whatever they meant it to be, is a worthless piece of crap as far as I'm concerned, because it didn't even pick up on noises at the beginning and the end. I don't know exactly what it picks up on. It hasn't also picked up on repeated phrases. I had a file that went through where I accidentally said the phrase twice. And it didn't pick up on that either. But neither did a human person, so I guess that doesn't matter. Regardless, that's sort of a ridiculous tool. They're touting how awesome this is, but it doesn't do anything. So your narrator, has to be really super careful, especially with beginning and end tones, and just watching that spike, because even if you can't hear it, if they can't hear it, it's going to get kicked back, and then it could be months before ACX puts it out. So let's go back to that project page. And here is what I want to talk about with ACX versus Findaway Voices. Now, my Findaway Voices dashboard is not nearly as exciting looking as this one. But you got to remember also, this is 3 years of work. Okay, this is not like a month or anything like that. So we go back to these completed projects. I want to take a look specifically at these 3 books. The Wishing Stone for Love on the Line and When Love Returns. Okay, they're all still waiting, pending review. They haven't even been listened to yet. If I go over to my Findaway Voices, you can see that these books are active already, right? Here's the Wishing Stone 4. Here is When Love Returns. And here is Love on the Line. Okay. In addition, here is Touchdown on Love, which is the one that is showing as completed on Audible, but hasn't gone anywhere yet. So all of these are live on Findaway Voices, which means that I can start already garnering sales from them. Okay. A month now, over a month and a half, I've been waiting for these books on Audible, and I'm already garnering sales on them through Findaway Voices. Okay. So when you go into Findaway Voices, you'll get your sales reports. And again, what's first going to pop up is everything. Because when I first started, I did put my books in Findaway Voices because I didn't know ACX paid, and then I took them out. So this doesn't look nearly as impressive, right? And I'll explain why in a second. But here's what I do want to point out. So here's this Love on the Line, not earning anything from Audible yet, but here it is here. It's earning for library use. Here it is here, retail, 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 retail. By the way, that's a day when I ran a promotion on Apple and Chirp and got those sales. So I'll talk about that in a second, which is another reason that I think Findaway Voices is definitely the way to go. So as we keep going, we'll go down. Here's another. When Love Returns, the library. When Love Returns, library. Okay. Weirdly, it hasn't picked up on one of my books, A Spark in Darkness. It's like nowhere on here, and I'm not sure what's happening with that one. It's for sale places, but some of them haven't picked up. Here's another one, When Love Returns, When Love Returns, When Love Returns, When Love Returns. So all of these, and then we'll go down, When Love Returns, Love on the Line, When Love Returns. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, this is already being picked up by libraries and retails. Okay, so you can see when I go up here, most of this is Biblioteca and Chirp. Okay, and that's important to know because in one Apple sale, because those are probably going to be your big ones, along with Hoopla. Hoopla is another library store, and if I could pull up some of my old ones, you would see a lot from Hoopla. Hoopla, however, is experiencing long delays just like ACX is. So I don't even think my books have made it to Hoopla yet, which is sort of disappointing. But again, this is the long view. Okay, so I'll show you the chart, which looks a little bit more interesting. And I wish ACX did something like this because I can watch my ACX chart. And again, it was different when they paid for codes because some days I would pull up and I would have like 50 sales. And I was like, holy moly. Now I'll pull it up. Like today I had no sales from yesterday, but from yesterday to the day before I had 6. And then from the day before to the day before that, I had 0. So I am going to start actually making my own spreadsheet because ACX doesn't give a nice breakdown like Findaway Voices does. But here's what I want to point out. Now, this is not huge. You can see that this graph only goes up to $6. Okay, so these are all little amounts, but it's an almost daily stream, right? There's a couple of weird days where I didn't have any sales, but for the most part, there's something happening every day. And it's mainly because of that library usage, right? They can check your book out from the library. That's great because it's free for them, but you're still getting paid. And if they like your book, they're going to go and see what else they can check out from you from the library, okay? So that part is really nice. And it makes up for the difference in what you're losing with the ACX royalty. So if you're new and you're unfamiliar with this, if you're exclusive with ACX, the royalty is 40% of your book sales. So typically speaking, most average books are priced between $14.99 and $19.99, unless you're doing a box set or something bigger or smaller. I have a couple that are smaller. So that is about $6 per book. If you go non-exclusive with ACX and you go with Findaway Voices, then that's going to drop from 40% to 25%, which means then you're only getting paid about $3.75 per book. So you're losing about $2.25 every time you have a sale. But you can see on some of these days, I'm clearly making that up, right? I'm not making it up on every day, okay? But I'm making it up over the long run. So on those days when I'm not selling anything with Audible or ACX, I'm still making sales over here with Findaway Voices. And the other thing to point out is this is only, what did I say? This was about 9 books, I think. Let's see. Sorry, it's a little slow sometimes today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 8 books versus the 36 books that I have in Audible. So again, it's not an apples to apples comparison because I don't have everything in both places yet. As they are coming due at the end of their year, I'm pulling them over, which is another thing. And I'll talk about that in a second. But again, you can only do that if you're not doing royalty share. If you're doing royalty share, you're stuck for 7 years. And I've got a couple of my books that are stuck and I'm very sad about it. But they're stuck for 7 years. You also can't put them in box sets. And I had a couple of people ask about box sets. Absolutely, you can do box sets. I'm going to jump back over here and I will show you. I did this and got it in just before the change. But here's my Men of Fire Beach collection. So it has 4 of my audiobooks in it. And I've sold 126 units. Now, again, this one was when they paid for codes. So most of those came from codes. But the thing about box sets is it's actually, you're more likely to sell them, especially on Audible, because they give those people that credit And that credit really costs them, I think it's like $20 a month to be a member. So really they're looking for books that are $19.99 or above. So when you can put some of your, like tend to write shorter books. So mine are 40 to 50,000 words. And so they wouldn't get the same, they would just purchase the book because their credit's worth $19.99. My book's only $14.99. But if I can put some of these together, they'll use their credit to purchase it. Okay. And if you've already paid for your files, it's super easy to put them together. You just have to have it available on Amazon, obviously. And then you just compile all the files together, and you do have to have the intro and the outro for the collection. And in between each book. So you have to make sure and compile that, but your narrator can help you with that, hopefully. It's pretty easy to do. And so if you're paying your narrator, which again is what I suggest, you own the files for all of your books. So after your books have been up for a little bit, if you're not seeing sales, you might want to think about a collection. Now, there's some things on this. Some people say that as soon as you put a collection, you're going to see less on individual sales. I don't see where the problem is on that. Because if you're not seeing sales on individual books anyway, then maybe the collection is going to help you. Same with on Amazon. A lot of people wait like a year before they put a box set together. Okay, I get it. But there's always people looking for those bargains. And so if my books are going to cost them $4 each, but they can get all 4 for 12, like I'm okay with them saving some money and getting kind of a book for free. Like I think that's kind of important and cool. So those are just some things to think about. Okay, but here's the other really cool thing. And this is what I was talking about with that day that I had all those retail sales. This is something that you cannot do with ACX, right? Because when you go to Audible, they set your price. They set your price for Audible, they set it for Amazon, they set it for Apple. And that's really important because if you come to Findaway Voices, you can actually set your Apple price lower, which is great because then you can get more sales and you make more off of it. So if you go through ACX exclusive, you get 40% of your Apple sales. Whereas if you go through Findaway Voices, you get 45% of your Apple sales. I'll take the 5% more. Okay, so you can actually do a promotion, okay? And you can see, I don't have any scheduled, but I do have a past promotion. So here, Love on the Line, which again is still waiting to be approved over at Audible. I already had it up and ran a sale on it. So it's normally $6.50. I dropped it to $3.25. It went out at that price on Apple and Chirp. And you saw that I got 6 or 7 sales on that book on those days. Okay. So I haven't run any other sales. I will, because that was amazing. I don't know why I haven't yet. But my Touchdown on Love will be going on sale June 15th, the ebook. So I'll run a sale for the audiobook on that same day. But these are ways that you can get sort of the people trying. Now, the other thing that you can do is, and I'll jump over here, you can get into Chirp, okay? And I was just about to set this up. So you can submit a Chirp audiobook deal. Again, something you can't do if you're exclusive with ACX. And so you have to put in your book, right? And then it'll go in suggested category. I'm going to say Christian fiction, because that's really what this is, or romance. But since it has Christian elements, I always like to play to that so that romance readers who don't like Christian aren't caught off guard. And then you can pick your discounted price. I like to choose kind of the bottom 3 so that any of these I will accept. They'll let you know what price they recommend if they accept it. Okay, now here's the really cool thing. For a limited time, it's free. If you've ever done a BookBub, you know that they range from like $400+ plus. Now you typically make that money back, so it's totally worth it. But Chirp is doing these for free right now because they're in beta stage. And then you just hit confirm. Now I will tell you, it doesn't like this book yet. I have to find it by ISBN. But I will tell you that they're pretty still picky, just like they are about BookBub deals. So I haven't had a Chirp deal get accepted yet. But just the fact that I can apply is amazing. And beyond that, even though I can't necessarily get accepted, I can still put it on sale on Chirp and they'll see it. People who are in the Chirp will see it on their page. Okay. Now, the one thing that I would suggest is kind of what I've done is there's not really a lovely place to put all of your book links. Okay. So I created this Wix collection And I haven't messed around with the rest of the Wix site because it doesn't do everything I want it to do yet. My main thing is on WordPress, but I had a developer set it up for me and I don't know how to create pages. It's just a mess. But this Wix one was pretty easy. And I can then put all of the links up here and all the prices. And here's what I really want to point out. If I go down to, yeah, okay. So here is a book, Run With My Heart. It's not on all these other ones yet because this was one that I went exclusive with ACX. But notice on Audible, it's $14.95. $14.95. It's the same price on Apple right now, or very close to it. I think they discounted it for a little bit, right? Here is the second book in the series, the exact same length, okay? Apple Books, $4.99. So instead of $12.99, I was able to set my price much lower, and then Apple actually discounted it. So $4.99. Chirp, $5.85. Nook Audio, $4.99. Google Play, $6.50. Kobo, $6.50. eStories, $7.15. Although if you're a member, you get a discount. So all of these places are less than half the price of what this will be when it goes to Audible, because it'll be $14.95 at Audible when it finally gets approved. Okay. And so really it's going to take a total shift from you as an author into getting people to pick one of these other places, right? I like Chirp because typically they're the cheapest. This one's weird because it's actually showing higher than Apple Books and Nook. But for the most part, typically it's the cheapest, right? And Chirp then also gives you the ability to do those deals, and you don't have to have an iPad or an iPhone. It's great if you have that, but if you don't, then Chirp is a really good place to do it. You also still get codes with Findaway Voices. But you can use them. Oh, and here it'll tell you Hoopla, Storytel, and Audible ACX experiencing delays. So once I get into these other two, that will also help sales. But you do get codes through Findaway Voices. It is only 30. And the one drawback that I've seen is they can't rank your book. They can't leave a review on Audible. Okay. So if all of your listeners are in Audible, this is going to be a bit of a, trend and struggle to kind of get them over, because they can listen to your book on Authors Direct. They can't leave a review on Authors Direct yet. Authors Direct did reach out to me because I'm in their waiting list and said that they're about to open it up for authors. And so that's going to be amazing, I think. And if you're not sure if you're on that list, but you have books in Findaway Voices, I'll leave a link in the video below where you can sign up for that, because you definitely want to be on it when that goes live, because I've heard amazing things about it. It's going to be another sales platform, but I think it's going to be really great. So here's the way I would look at ACX versus Findaway Voices. And there's kind of two rules of thought. Some people say go with ACX exclusive for a year, because then after you've been with them for a year, you can ask them to pull your book out to non-exclusive. And generally they let you do that. A couple of caveats with that. They don't have to. And we all know ACX likes to change their rules willy-nilly. So, 3 days from now, they might decide they're not going to let you do that anymore. And then you're stuck with them for 7 years. The other thing is you can only change your exclusivity once. Another nice little thing that they don't tell you about, and it's nowhere in the contract because I've looked. So if you start exclusive and then you go non-exclusive and then you want to go back to exclusive, you can't. Okay. So a couple things to think about with that. The other thing is, yes, you're going to maybe make more for that first year with it being 40%, but how much are you losing in the months it takes to get your book up, right? Those 3 books of mine that are still waiting on Audible are already making money on Findaway Voices. Okay, so that's kind of the thing to balance. I look at this as kind of the KU versus the wide strategy. If you've ever pulled your books out of KU and tried to go wide, it's really scary at first because you don't see a lot of sales coming in. And I left mine out for probably 2 months, and they were my lowest 2 months, and I freaked out and pulled them all back over to KU. And now my KU reads are down again. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe that was not the best thing to do. But regardless, what I've heard from people who go wide is it takes about a year to really build that readership wide and people to start buying your books. So think about Findaway Voices as kind of the same thing. It is not going to be an immediate funnel. but it's going to be opening the funnel to where more stuff can start coming in. Okay, so it's going to be a slow trickle at first, and there may be days that you'll see your ACX pop up and your Findaway doing nothing, that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I made the right move. You can always pull them out of Findaway and go back exclusive to ACX if you want to. I don't know why you would want to, other than that difference of 15%, but you can do that. You have that option. Again, you can only do it once. So make sure that you really decide. But the thing that I like about Findaway Voices is that it's an everyday thing. And the more books you have, the more people are going to start checking you out from libraries, the more you have control over your promotions and the ability to run those and get sales, the more you can then set your prices and decide what you want it to be. Like, there's just a lot of benefits with being with Findaway Voices. And I think there's just going to be more moving forward. And at this point, there are two benefits to staying exclusive with ACX. One, you get 15% more if you sell an audiobook, but you have to, they set the price more than 2 times what you could set it for yourself. So if you sell it, you're going to make more money if you're exclusive. 2, the codes that you do get, you can give out and get Audible reviews. That's it. Those are the only 2 benefits that I see, versus what I think is coming on Findaway Voices is going to be much bigger. The ability to set your own prices, the ability to run promotions, the ability to get chirp promotions and be in their newsletter, the Authors Direct that's about to open up, that's pretty amazing. The more that you get at Apple, they're working with new retailers every single day to try to get more people involved and in more countries. So I really think in the long run, it's going to be the strategy that will pay off. Now, I will tell you that I do think that you should, at least at this point, start with ACX non-exclusive to do all your contracts when you hire your narrator, because Findaway Voices still makes you pay if you go solely through them. There were a couple of videos where I was like, I think you can get out of this fee if you know who you want to narrate, but you can't. So even if you knew you wanted me to narrate your books and you went into Findaway Voices and you asked for me, they're still going to make you pay a $50 fee. If we do it through ACX and you hire me through ACX and you pay me through ACX, once we finish, all those files are yours to then download and upload yourself on Findaway Voices, and you save yourself that $50 fee. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. Also, at this point, there really isn't a benefit to going solely with Findaway Voices, because 2 things happen when you do that. Yes, you get more codes, but I don't know why you need 100 codes if you're not getting paid for them, right? And especially because you can't review on Authors Direct yet. Maybe when that opens and you can review on Authors Direct, it's going to be worth it. But at this point, I don't think it is. Secondly, it drops your ACX from 25% down to 20%. So you lose another 5%. Again, not huge in the grand scheme of things, but if every day you're selling a couple of books, that adds up pretty fast. So at this point, my recommendation is to go non-exclusive with ACX and then go into Findaway Voices, also non-exclusive, uncheck ACX Audible, and submit to the other 42 distributors so that you can start getting in libraries. You will see your books in ACX typically get published within 7 days. Yes, 7 days. Some of them take a little longer. Nook tends to take a tiny bit longer, and there's a couple of other ones on there that do. But for the most part, once I send a book in, I can start checking it in 3, 4, 5 days, and it will be in Apple. It will be on Beak. It will be on Scribd. It will be on eStories. It'll be on Chirp. So your book gets out there a whole lot faster, which is very, very nice. So that's the update that I have for you guys so far. I will try to keep a log of my ACX sales so we can kind of see like exactly how much am I losing being with Findaway Voices versus how much am I gaining. But it's still not going to be an exact comparison because remember, there's 3 times as many books on ACX as there are on Findaway Voices. But what I wanted to show you guys is that there is this ray of hope, right? That your book gets picked up much quicker. It gets out to markets much quicker. It starts going into libraries, and you start to see that sale like every day, that everyday kind of sale, instead of looking at your dashboard and I don't see any sales for 3 days. And then maybe I'll see 2 sales and then I don't see any sales. Like, it's nice to kind of see this and see every day, like your book is making some money. Okay. So feel free to reach out to me if you have questions, if there's anything else you guys would like me to discuss on audiobook side, narration side, author side, uploading side. Put it in the comments and I will happily do another video for you, but that's all I have for you guys today. So thanks for sticking with me. I'm going to see if I can get this off. Stop share. And then I will get this uploaded for you. So thanks for checking in. Be sure to check down in the comments for that Authors Direct sign up. If you're using Findaway Voices, you definitely want to make sure that you're in on that for whenever it comes out, whatever it's going to be, because it's going to be pretty big. And let me know if you guys have any questions. All right. See you soon.